Welcome to Raiders Roundtable, brought to you by America First Credit Union. I'm JT. That's the legendary corner. Eric Allen, my partner here. Raiders lose another one against the world champs, Kansas City Chiefs. I thought they could have beat Kansas City.
Yeah.
They had the lead. They had a 10-7 lead. They had great energy. The sideline was popping. They were making plays, but Patrick Mahomes finds a way to win again.
Yeah, for sure. It was KC week, so you know it's going to be physical. You know we had something to play for. Like you said, it was a close, so many opportunities to maybe take this game over for these Chiefs who've been struggling coming into this football game, but just not enough consistency on the offensive side of football. Defensively played pretty well, so we'll get to those things later on in the show.
Yeah, your three big things. Let's begin with Bowers and Kelsey.
Yeah.
That was a star-studded matchup.
Right.
After the game, they exchanged jerseys, and you saw Kelsey talking to Bowers there.
Yeah.
But I thought the Raiders got away from Brock. He started off the game. He was electric. His first three receptions were first downs. I'm like, this kid's going to have a big game.
Man.
And then he kind of disappeared for a while. They couldn't get on the ball again.
Yeah, some of those moments, and it takes me back to 1998 when I introduced Charles Woodson to Deion Sanders. And just to have those two on the football field at the same time, it was similar yesterday when you see Kelsey, one of the greatest tight ends to ever play, you know, getting older. And now you have, I mean, that's McDuffie. He's one of the best cornerbacks in the National Football League, and it just made him look like a little kid. And now you have Kelsey, who does such a great job of route running. So JT, he has an opportunity to hear, and you see the similarities. Mm-hmm. You turn around, you show the numbers. The thing that makes Kelsey so great is when he's running his route, he's looking at the defender. And if he knows the defender is drifting one way, he's going to find a way to put himself in a situation where him and Patrick, again, look at the similarities. You turn around, you kind of drift, you have to, you show the quarterback your numbers. These two guys are at different points of their career, but hopefully for us Raider fans, we're going to be able to look back years from now and say, you know, there was a moment that our guy was on the same football field as the great Travis Kelsey, and he had an opportunity to have the same amount of targets, but he didn't. So the consistency here, we should really look at. Kelsey had, 10 to 12 targets?
12.
We need our guy to have 10 to 12 targets. So the next time we meet, our guy needs to have the same amount of targets, and I'm pretty sure he's going to have the same devastating effect to the Kansas City Chiefs that Kelsey had against us.
I can't recall being this disappointed on the play of Kelsey against the Raiders and how the Raiders didn't put their hands on him. I spent all week on radio talking about it, saying you have to disrupt him.
Yeah.
How many times have I said, just put a hand on him? And that touchdown that he scored, untouched.
Yeah.
In the red zone, some zone coverage where he's able to get in between two linebackers and catch an easy touchdown. We've talked about this with Antonio Gates, a Hall of Famer, Kelsey, a Hall of Famer. You got to disrupt them with someone physical. We preached physicality all week.
Yeah,
it didn't happen against Kelsey.
Right.
Kelsey had a monster game.
It does, and I think the first 7 weeks of the season may have really fooled a lot of players who don't match up with Kelsey as much as we do. So what I'm saying by that is when you're watching film and you're looking and you're saying, man, he's not an impact player anymore. He's struggling right now. Him and Pat are not on the same page. So you kind of go on to normal, hey, we got to stop the run on first down. We're not going to pay much attention to the tight end. We're going to figure out a way to be able to kind of rush the passer a little bit more because he's not comfortable right now. We don't see the success of any receiver on the Kansas City Chiefs. But once you get into the football game and this Chiefs team starts to struggle a little bit, particularly on third down, they're going to go back to Kelsey. And Kelsey, the way he runs those routes, it's not a design you need to be 10 yards over the football. It's a point where him and Patrick Mahomes are on the same page. If that linebacker is dropping and he's gonna get underneath the hook route, Kelsey is going to run a route. He's going to go away from the hook route and maybe be behind the linebacker a little bit and maybe a little bit outside of the numbers. He's going to run those routes, and those routes are basically option routes, very difficult to defend. And once him and Pat were on the same page, it was lights out for him.
Well, Kansas City was 12 of 16 on third down.
Yes.
That can't happen.
Right.
Even in these Raiders losses over the last month, they've been pretty good on third down, getting off the field. That wasn't the case again. Mahomes ran for a couple of them, but the middle of the field was wide open again. And it was really easy for Mahomes to look over and say, okay, third down, I'm just going to make a short pass, run after catch. And that was disappointing because the Raiders needed to get off the field.
Yeah, they did.
Because overall, I thought they did a pretty good job with the scheme, other than Kelsey, not being physical with him. And then it just jumped off the stat sheet what happened on third down.
Yeah, JT, and you go to third down, which is obviously so critical, and that's why Patrick Mahomes is one of the best quarterbacks in the National Football League, because they extend plays. Well, if you go to an NFL practice, the first thing you're going to hear from defenses is set the edge, right? So on that point, we set the edge. They got a brand new toy, you know, who they just got. But many times here we see him take the check down. He's not going to be greedy. He thinks, hey, I'll take the check down and allow my receiver to have some runs after catch. Now, we didn't set the edge. He's outside, and now he runs for the first down. Always a little bit faster in person do you think on film. You think, oh, man, I'll be able to bring him down. Look at that. Great pocket awareness in the middle of the football field. Who does he find? Kelsey, wide open.
How does Kelsey get lost there?
Because
it's third down.
Right.
How does Kelsey get lost there and be wide open over the middle of the field? I know the eye candy is, okay, Mahomes is running, you take your eyes off of Kelsey because Mahomes is there, but Kelsey can't be that wide open on third down because no one's running with him.
No one's running with him, and you have to be able to have glue on Kelsey in those situations. So you have to force Mahomes into running. I'd rather have Mahomes running so I can get some hits on him, be physical, than see that play kind of develop and you see him start to run. And as a linebacker, man, you want to attack him, but you have to find a way to really stay on Kelsey and force Mahomes to run so you can possibly get a hit on him.
We're going to talk about this a lot. The offense, the ball was spread out again. A lot of guys got touches in this game, but I want to stress with you about Bowers and Jacoby. You told me on the field, and then afterwards we were talking and texting, those two guys should be every other play.
Right.
If one guy doesn't get it in Bowers, it's going to Jacoby. If Jacoby doesn't get it, then it's going back to Bowers. There's got to be a better rhythm with those two.
It has to be. And I know coming to the game, it was Jacoby's first opportunity really to play without Devontae Adams, kind of see how he was going to work with Brock. But I thought you feed Brock early, which they were able to do, and then off of that, you find if Jacoby is ready to play. Man, was he ready to play. I mean, just great catches, but more importantly, a lot of yards after the catch. Once you realize Jacoby was kind of in his bag doing his thing, I thought it was a great opportunity. If you're not going to be able to have success with the run, go with those two quick passes to those guys to put yourself in good third and manageable situations if you don't get the run, if you don't get a good run after the catch. So I thought those two guys, you can kind of work those two guys all day long, being able to match up, because that was your only mismatches, right? Was Brock Bowers, of course. No one can cover him. You put your best corner on him, he's going to do like he did earlier and just kind of jump over him and catch the ball. Linebackers not fast enough. We keep saying this week in and week out. But the one thing that I thought we could have went with was after they were able to kind of blitz you a little bit because Brock is doing well, you go to Jacoby and you find ways getting him the football. Just think we didn't take advantage of that in the middle of the football game, particularly second and third quarter.
This organization has been built on warriors. Okay, warriors, and a lot of them are in the Hall of Fame. I'm not going to go that far with Robert Spillane yet, but let me tell you about this guy. He got injured in this game, early in the game, and I looked down from my seats, and I said, he's done for the year. I mean, done for the year. He grabbed his helmet, and then he tried to put pressure on it, his ankle, knee, whatever it was, and I said, oh, he's done.
That's ugly. That's ugly right there.
And then it took two trainers to get him off the field, to go to the blue tent. So I'm sitting there going, he's done. So who's going to play that position? What are we going to do?
Watch this. When he looks,
he can't even put pressure on his foot.
He's like, no, I'm done.
And they get him in the blue tent, and he comes out on the next series. I go, what's going on? And then I look at the stat sheet, and he's got 12 tackles in the game. I mean, when you look at this roster going forward, and it's too early to do that, we go game by game. This guy is a cornerstone player in this organization. Young, still his best football in front of him. I just like his leadership. A lot of guys with the record would have said, I'm out.
Yeah.
I'll try to
Not
go
him.
next week.
Not
Bye
him.
week is coming. Not Spillane. He wanted to be there with his teammates.
And that's what it means going into this week of the Kansas City Chiefs.
Yeah, it does.
It's still a special week on how this defense kind of stepped up and played. No, it wasn't perfect, but Spillane is really the key ingredient for this football team. He's going to play every play. We know Max is an animal and is a beast, is one of the best players in the National Football League, but you got to have those kind of players at every level. And yesterday, I thought we saw some really tremendous plays by Spillane after the injury, coming back, having 12 tackles. That was the first drive. So he had to come back, make some plays. He's the communication guy. He has the red dot on the helmet. And then Trayvon had an outstanding game also. Had an interception. And then going into the game yesterday, you felt really comfortable coverage-wise because, you know, when I'm sitting down at my desk, I get like some handouts of kind of what's happening on today. And of course, you got Max with, I think, 58 or 59 sacks. But the next page was our two cover guys are doing pretty good right now. Ja'Cory Bennett, the number one cover corner as far as percentage is concerned in the National Football League, of giving up the least amount of completions. And then our guy Hobbs is, I think, 5th or 6th. So you have every level of our defense have some players who are making big-time plays. So we have to find a way to kind of complement all these guys and play some complementary football with their offense.
It was a great opportunity to win the game. I thought they could have won the game. A lot of breaks went against them. Coming up next, our MVP, Rich Gannon, will join us. We'll get his analysis of the game when we continue on Raiders Roundtable. Raiders Roundtable is brought to you by America First Credit Union, the official credit union of the Las Vegas Raiders.
Hey Raider Nation, when you come to see the Raiders take the field at Allegiant Stadium, you should do it from the best seats in the house. So grab an ice-cold Coors Light, and you can enter to win tickets for these Coors Light Silver seats at Allegiant Stadium. With plush seating, state-of-the-art beverage coolers, and wireless phone chargers, there's no better place to watch your Raiders bring home the win. Celebrate responsibly.
It's in our very nature to find exhilaration in the new, to seek the excitement of the unexpected, an endless yearning to experience what lies beyond the everyday.
We want you to start every day with the charge you need. So we're giving you this home charger and covering the cost of standard installation. The Ford Power Promise, electric vehicle confidence from day one.
Get 1.9% APR financing for 72 months, plus the Ford Power Promise on Ford Mustang Mach-E, only at your Southern Nevada Ford dealers.
Dude, you were looking ice cold.
You look ice cold, bro.
Guys, somebody's coming. Somebody's coming.
Let's do it.
There comes a day,
Gonna be a day when I'll be the one
you dream.
It's gonna
It's gonna be Ray.
Dude, are you crying?
Hey Raider Nation, when you come to see the Raiders take the field at Allegiant Stadium, you should do it from the best seats in the house. So grab an ice-cold Coors Light, and you can enter to win tickets for these Coors Light Silver seats at Allegiant Stadium. With plush seating, state-of-the-art beverage coolers, and wireless phone chargers, there's no better place to watch your Raiders bring home the win. Celebrate responsibly.
Celebrate 65 seasons of Raiders football. Be a part of our legacy with a special edition brick featuring the exclusive 65th anniversary logo. Get your brick installed at Allegiant Stadium along with a replica for your home or office. Order now and support the Raiders Foundation, benefiting military and veterans, wellness initiatives, and youth development. Secure your place in Raiders history today at RaidersFoundationBricks.com.
Welcome back to Raiders Roundtable. Each week we're joined by our MVP, Rich Gannon. Now, Rich, I want to begin big picture from you on the overall game, especially the struggles in the red zone, where the Raiders had 7 opportunities from the 4-yard line in. What'd you see?
Well, JT, I think it really gets back to a lot of different things. I think first and foremost, it gets back to scheming. Like, what is your personality down in that part of the field? I think you have to look at matchups. What are we seeing from a defensive perspective? Are we seeing a 6-2 goal line defense? Are we seeing a base defense? Are we seeing a defense with bigger edges? Are we seeing a defense where they're bringing in some bigger bodies in the secondary? What are our best matchups? You know, what I'm seeing through the first half of the season, and not just with the Raiders, this is around the National Football League. There are a number of teams, and quite frankly, too many, that aren't very good in short yardage and goal line situations. I look at the games yesterday. You've got 31 situations. The Jets are in the gun with Aaron Rodgers, and they hand it off, and they lose a half a yard. You look at teams that had a 4th and 2, and they're throwing a wide flare to a back, and they're getting tackled in the backfield for a loss of 3. You have to have a personality that you play to. And I think, when I was with the Raiders, we did have a personality in short yardage and goal line. We were the best short yardage and goal line team in the NFL, and it wasn't even close. We had big bodies up front. We've got bigger reinforcements on the edges. We brought in extra linemen. We had Zach Crockett. We had a big fullback in John Ritchie. And we had a quarterback that had no problem handing the football off. And we had a play caller that was determined to score points and not settle for field goals. And I just think that, we've gotten away from that. We get in the gun. It drives me crazy when I see a team that has 3rd and a half a yard or 4th and a half a yard, and they get in gun, they snap the ball backwards 5 yards to try and gain a foot or a foot and a half. Look at the Philadelphia Eagles. They've got that brotherly shove. They got a quarterback that can squat 600 pounds. They get in that formation. They win at the line of scrimmage. They get the backs and tight ends to push the quarterback forward. There's different ways to do it, but I just don't know that the Raiders really have a plan. And you just can't keep dialing up plays and hope they work. We've seen this now. And look, the Raiders had a chance yesterday. I mean, I think the interception in the red zone and to come away with no points was really, in my opinion, the turning point in that game. They had an opportunity to get right back in this thing, and because they couldn't convert, red zone has been a real issue so far this season for the Raiders. Turnovers in that part of the field and a lack of execution has really been a huge issue that needs to get corrected here in the second half of the season.
You guys, from a defensive standpoint, red zone, it used to take me a whole day. Like Friday, the whole day, you would focus on the opponent's red zone plays. That's how extensive red zone is. And going back to the days with Rich and those guys, man, that was just a really difficult matchup because they brought in different bodies like Rich is talking about. So do you see this football team having difficulties because of the personnel, Rich, or because they're not spending enough time on the red zone because there's so many other things to need to worry about as far as fixing a run, quality passing game? Why don't you think that package, that red zone package, is not thorough at this moment?
EA, you get what you emphasize in this business, right? And if it's a point of emphasis, it's something you work on all the time, you get better at it, right? And I think when we've had issues in the red zone in the past, rather than wait till Friday to install it, we did it on Thursday. When we were having issues in that part of the field, we moved it up a day. We spent a period on Thursday to make sure that we were all on the same page. I think one of the things is when you have an issue as a football team, your head coach has to fix it. Even if he comes from the defensive side of the ball or what, he's got to be able to go in that offensive meeting room and sit down with Luke Getsy and the offensive staff and get it fixed. And that has to happen. And I think, you look at what they're doing and you say to yourself, like, what are they trying to accomplish? Are we trying to trick them in that part of the field, or are we trying to be the more physical team in that part of the field? My sense is And again, I'm not in these meetings, but my sense is they don't think they can out-physical somebody down there in terms of with what they have with their personnel. I mean, look at the running game yesterday. You got a back at Alexander Madison that's capable of knocking some people backwards. He is. I'm just telling you. I've seen enough of his body of work. I watched him do it in Minnesota. And when he gets a head of steam, he can knock you backwards. He had 14 carries yesterday for 15 yards. Too often, he's getting the ball and he's getting hit at or around the line of scrimmage, and sometimes in the backfield. They're not winning at the line of scrimmage. You have to win at the point of attack, and I just think that's part of it. And I think when they're not able to run the ball and they get down in the red zone, if they can't run it out in the field, it gets tighter and more congested in that part of the field, so they don't even try and run it down there. They try and trick you. They try and get on the perimeter with the receivers on these end arounds and these speed reverses, and they try and throw it down there, and that's a problem. It limits what you can do. Teams know they're not going to run it down there. Teams know they're not going to pack you in and knock you backwards, and so they're adjusting their scheme as well, and it makes it all that much more difficult.
That is incredible analysis.
That is.
That's exactly what's going on,
right.
Because I don't think they have a vision. When they come to the running game, they can't run it all year, period. Mm-hmm. They don't have the personnel, the offensive line's getting blown up, and they insist on doing it. So you mentioned the amount of carries for just Madison and how they couldn't run the ball yesterday. You take maybe 5 of those runs away where nothing happened, and you give Bowers 4 to 5 more targets in a game where he starts off aggressive. I think his first 3 catches were first downs. He disappears. He disappears from the second quarter into the fourth quarter as the team has an opportunity to win this game. We were there. They were in that game. They had the chance to win the game, not keep it close. And then the running to just try to continue to do something, Rich, that's not working. As Bowers is out there having a good start to the game, I really thought that cost the Raiders.
Yeah, I mean, he has 5 catches in the game. It just seemed like all of them came in the first quarter. A couple of things with Bowers. I mean, he's a phenomenal player, and I just think that teams aren't asleep at the wheel either now. Steve Spagnuolo and the Chiefs defense, they know who he is. They know that that's the number one target, and so you're going to start to see some different things with respect to how they defend him. But I just think that when you look at what they're doing right now, I think there's some issues with the personnel. I think the offensive line hasn't been great in the running game. I think there's some limitations in terms of protection. I think it was great to get Jacoby Myers back. He made an immediate impact in that game yesterday. He's certainly coming off of what he did last week. He had 6 catches. But they're just, and here's the crazy thing. The Chiefs aren't even that great. I mean, the Chiefs have their own issues.
Yeah.
I mean, it's amazing that they're 7-0 and they're winning with, now Mahomes played a little bit better yesterday. Kelsey had 10 catches, but they have their own issues, right? The tackles are a liability. Mahomes is having to make do. They're banged up at wide receiver. They brought in DeAndre Hopkins. He didn't do anything yesterday in that game. So they're relying on their defense, and they're relying on a quarterback that knows how to get you to the finish line, and they're winning ugly. And I thought that the Raiders had a real opportunity in that game to beat the Chiefs and to really maybe turn this season around, and I just thought they let an opportunity slip away yesterday.
Yeah, I did too. And I think whenever the Raiders are a good football team on the football field, it all comes down to the dominance of the offensive line. But what is a great surprise, Jacoby Myers, I thought played really well and thought he would be an impact player throughout the whole game. Did a great job with some runs after the catch. And I thought, maybe there's a possibility of him getting more opportunities if they continue to kind of go Brock a couple plays and then Jacoby. Talk to us about how you thought Jacoby played yesterday.
Yeah, Eric, I really have liked him for a long time. Even going back to his earlier days in New England, he's got the length you love at that position. I think he does a good job separating. He's got good hands. He's ultra competitive, and he's great in the locker room. Players love him. He made a comment to me in the preseason about Gardner Minshew and the quarterback situation, Aiden O'Connell, however it was going to work out. And he said, it really doesn't matter. He says, we have to make whichever quarterback comes into that huddle comfortable. I thought that was an interesting thing to say, have a veteran player. So we have to make them comfortable. We have to win on the edges. We've got to do a good job up front. We've got to give them extra time. I just think that, that says a lot about the type of player, the type of leader he is with the Raiders. So I think it's great getting him back. I think those younger receivers have to step up. We need more weapons, right? We need more players to make plays after the catch. I thought Gardner Minshew yesterday played pretty well. He was 24-30, 209 yards, 2 touchdowns. He didn't throw the interception, did have the 1 fumble, but he's competitive. He's going to give you what he has. But they have to help him in the running game. I mean, 21 carries for 33 yards yesterday, guys. That's just awful. I mean, that's as bad as there is right now in the NFL. They're averaging 1.6 yards per carry. You can't do it. You can't be one-dimensional. And they're not good enough in the passing game right now with Minshew and the receivers that they have. You can't just drop back even though I'd like to tell you to do it, throw it to Bowers every play. They got coaches that are getting paid on that side of the ball as well. So somebody has to step up and make some plays. So, look, this is not an easy spot for Luke Getsy as he's calling plays, trying to figure out who's going to be the guy that can make some plays this week. I think when you look at their personnel across the board, it's from a personnel standpoint, it's not a top 10 offense, right? It's not, and I think you have to find ways to manufacture some offense. But what's disturbing to me is situationally they haven't been very good. Yeah. And one of the things we started this block with was the red zone and short yards and goal line. They've got to get that addressed. Too many games are being lost right now in the NFL because you can't convert on 3rd and 1 or 3rd and 2 or 4th and a half a yard down inside the red zone. And the best team, the field shrinks down in that part of the field. Things happen quicker in that part of the field. Right. And that's where the Raiders have been very deficient here through the first half of the season.
You made an interesting point about the run game. And I felt at some points you guys utilized a short passing game to kind of help you guys kind of get started and get into that 3rd and short. Is that something that they can do, use the short passing game maybe to help them because they're not running the ball well, so that can kind of put them in manageable situations on 3rd down?
Absolutely, EA. I mean, the quick throws, the bubble screens, the screens to the back. I think to just be a little bit more innovative. I think understanding, okay, who we are. First of all, you have to come to the conclusion like this is who we are as a football team. This is the personnel we have to work with. We're not going to get 10 great players. Tom Telesco's not going to make trades here the next week and get us 2 more receivers and 2 running backs and another couple off. It's just not going to happen. So let's see who we have. What do they do well? What don't they do well? How can we help the right tackle? Whatever we have to do. And I think that's where Luke Getsy needs to be better. We have to understand, who do we have to work with? Let's build game plans around what they do well. Let's change the launch point for a quarterback that's not very tall and isn't great functioning from the pocket. Let's find ways that we can take some pressure off of him. Let's find some ways where we can get in manageable situations, not get behind it in the down and distance. So you're right, EA. It's like the quick game, the short game, the screen game, all those things that can help us be more effective and more efficient as an offense.
Rich, thanks as always. Have a great week. We'll talk to you next Monday.
You guys are the best.
All right, Rich.
There he is, Rich Gannon.
Yeah, he was fired up.
He was really fired up. That was special what he had to say. When we come back, we'll go inside the Raiders locker room to get reaction from the game on Sunday in the loss against Kansas City when we come back on Raiders Roundtable.
It's in our very nature to find exhilaration in the new, to seek the excitement of the unexpected, an endless yearning to experience what lies beyond the everyday.
Dude, you were looking ice cold.
You look ice cold, bro. Hey guys, somebody's coming. Somebody's coming.
Let's do it.
There comes a day
When I'll be the one
you dream.
It's gonna
It's gonna be Ray.
Dude, are you crying?
In 300 feet, turn left.
With Cox's fiber-powered internet, you can do brilliant things.
Exit approaching.
Like upload your voice to Dad's GPS in no time flat.
And I miss you, Daddy. Happy birthday.
Get multi-gig download speeds powered by fiber. Upgrade your internet today with Cox, the nation's fastest internet provider. Limited availability in select areas.
How are you feeling?
Good.
Congratulations. Thank you so much.
We want you to start every day with the charge you need. So we're giving you this home charger and covering the cost of standard installation. The Ford Power Promise, electric vehicle confidence from day one.
Get 1.9% APR financing for 72 months, plus the Ford Power Promise on Ford Mustang Mach-E. Only at your Southern Nevada Ford dealers.
Hey Raider Nation, when you come to see the Raiders take the field at Allegiant Stadium, you should do it from the best seats in the house. So grab an ice cold Coors Light, and you can enter to win tickets for these Coors Light silver seats at Allegiant Stadium. With plush seating, state-of-the-art beverage coolers, and wireless phone chargers, there's no better place to watch your Raiders bring home the win. Celebrate responsibly.
Raiders Roundtable is brought to you by Coors Light. Choose chill, an official beer of Raider Nation. Celebrate responsibly. 2024, Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado. America First Credit Union, the official credit union of the Las Vegas Raiders. Welcome back to the show. It's Get Back to Work Week.
That's right.
As we're here, and wow, James Jones was going big with you last night.
He was
You catch Raiders Game Day on Sunday. Amber does an amazing job on all the platforms. The Silver and Black Show. We're in Roundtable, and then Big Lincoln Kennedy, Levi Edwards, and all the insiders that I talk to every Wednesday on Raiders Rundown. So I'm excited here. The Raiders had a great opportunity. They didn't win the game, but afterwards, to see the players in the locker room, we begin with Adam Butler.
You guys get that turnover, create that turnover, get down there right by the goal line. What does the defense feel like when you don't see the offense score? And you still try to stay together, obviously, as a team.
You just can't think like that.
Yeah.
We just got to, everybody on the whole squad has to just take ownership of their responsibility and their job. You know, that means me or whoever. We all have to take ownership of our individual job. We can't worry about offense.
Right.
We just can't because we don't play offense. What do you want us to do? Right. Only thing we need to do is get them back the ball. Whatever they do with it after that, it's on them.
That's fantastic.
Yes.
What else are you going to do? It's a fair question in regards to your emotion. You played on some great defenses, and you just go get the ball again for your teammates.
And you score if you're a defense. But I thought he had a really good game, too. So there's another guy on defense who is really, since preseason, basically, since the preseason, I thought he had kind of said, hey, you know what? I'm going to not only rush the passer, but I'm going to be really good in the run game. And thus far, he's been pretty good. So I'd like to see that. And I like his comments, definitely.
And I like his leadership, as you said. I like his energy.
Yes.
His body language during the game. Trayvon Merrick had a big interception that could have changed the game.
Right.
Overall, I mean, this team, you guys held them pretty well, but in terms of scoring points and considering it's Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs and all, how did you feel about the defensive effort overall?
Like I said, I loved our fight, man. I loved our effort. I loved our violence. I loved how we was talking. We just got to finish. I mean, that's, the bottom line. When you lose a game, we just got to finish. Find a way to get off the field on third down. Just continue to get the ball away from them guys. So.
You took 8 back to the house. You could tell he wanted that. He made a couple of moves. He was bouncing around. He was getting close to the end zone, but they came up short at the 3. And then I thought the game unraveled after that the Raiders got away with no points.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of Trayvon. I think he's done a really great job. I think he's mature. He understands the game, does a great job of communication. He allows those cover guys kind of do their thing. And when you're a cover guy, you have to have confidence in that safety that he's going to have your back when you jump those routes. So he does all those things. Great to see him in the middle of the football field taking advantage of a tip. But, you got to break right. You got to get to the end zone. So that's the kind of mentality you have to have now as a defense, knowing that its offense is struggling a little bit. You got to get in the end zone off those turnovers. So again, doing a really good job, really taking those next steps for him. He has to get into the end zone next time.
What I love about Trayvon is the fact he's getting better.
Yes,
he's a young player.
Yeah.
We were talking about scrutiny early in his career. Would he be here?
Right.
Would he make it in this league? He's a good player.
Good player.
He's another solid player for the Raiders. And we mentioned Jacoby Myers. Just good to see him back on the field to make some plays.
So like you said, everybody put it out there. Is that the silver lining in that you didn't get away with the W, but you guys went out there and put it all on the line, like you said?
I wouldn't say silver. I mean, you could say it, but I almost say the foundation, you know what I mean? We got to build off of that.
I know it ain't no moral victories, but that's something we could work with. And hopefully we come out and we better next week. So we're going to see, man. It's football.
Does it feel like you guys are kind of starting over then again? Or?
I hope so.
Yeah.
How I feel to you?
It look different.
I don't know. I'll take it then. You know what I mean? We're going to make it work.
What can you say about him?
Great, man.
He fought to get back. It took him a little bit longer to get back, and then he came back and he looked to me like he was close to 100%, even though he wasn't close to 100%.
Right. JT, I hope all of Raider Nation has an opportunity to look at those last couple interviews. You see the energy, you see the positive nature of these guys. They're all, committed to doing their best. And Jacoby, what a great opportunity for him to be the #1 receiver on the National Football League team. You can tell he's kind of taking that responsibility. Love the way he played yesterday and just love the energy. So this week he's going to go into the meetings with that kind of energy. And if you have that kind of energy, up front at the receiver spot, knowing that you can be the #1 guy, I think there's things to work with this young man, with him and Brock.
Yeah, we've never questioned the locker room.
Right,
Never.
right. That's great.
Because of guys like that, and you made a good point about looking at these interviews and seeing the body language and what these guys are going through. Now, if you take a look at the AFC West, it does not look good.
Oh, man.
Behind the third-place team by 3 games. So we know what's happening here. It's going to be hard to dig out of the hole. Next game is going to be against Cincinnati, who's struggling mightily also at home this year. And the Raiders got to look at it, and I hate to say this, but it's true, 1 week at a time.
Yeah.
Just focus on playing better. They did play better, I thought, this week against Kansas City than they've played in the past. So we're more good things to talk about considering what we've seen. But God, Kansas City, undefeated. Rich mentioned it.
Yeah.
You looked at Kansas City and said, does that look like a Super Bowl team? Yes, because they've won 2 Super Bowls in a row.
Right.
But you see the flaws, and the Raiders were able to expose some of them, but not enough for a win.
Right. And if you look at what we're doing, all those teams ahead of us obviously have a personality. And when you go into the football game, you understand kind of what their identity is in each one of those games. With us, it's so inconsistent. So I think that's the goal for this football team. I think identity-wise, we have it on defense, obviously, with Max, Spillane, Trayvon. The 2 cover guys are playing well. Adams playing well up front. First sack from our second-year player. So defensively, we have an identity. Offensively, it's just up and down. We have to find a way to kind of get an identity and play with a certain physical attitude. Even if it's not always about the run, we can try and find a way, like Rich mentioned earlier on, being able to use a quick passing game to kind of supplement the running game right now. So we're putting ourselves in the manageable third down. That's what it's all about. Our offense, getting the third down manageable, finding a way to get the ball to Brock or Jacoby, and then continuing to hold the ball and keep the ball away from these powerful offenses.
For me, you got to play now like your record. Your record is not good, so take more chances.
Yeah.
Take more chances, be more explosive, play faster, have fun, try to win some games here.
Yeah.
And the way you're going to do it is by attacking in the red zone, throwing it in the red zone, playing faster, using the clock to an advantage. Raiders got some opportunities here. We're not at the bye week. It's on to Cincinnati.
Let's go.
And the Raiders got to step up and get a win. For Eric Allen, I'm JT. Thanks for joining us every week on Raiders Roundtable.